All right, how you doing today, guys? Welcome back to another day of 7th grade math. Today, we're going to continue reviewing for the upcoming test. And in this review, we're going to be covering equations and inequalities. Now, a few background on this is that I had provided you with vocabulary for this, especially for the inequalities. And there are in your notes. And this is just regular vocabularies for equations and inequalities. And you can find out right here, and we made some notes about it, what keywords you can find for greater than, for less than, greater than or equal, and less than or equal. So we already know those keywords and what the open circles, closed circles represents. Now, going back to the review for equations and inequalities, right here, we have a lot of word problems, okay? Now, the key things that we need to know. What number is going to go with the variable? Remember, the variable is going to be the letter. Any letter you can use, unless it's a multiple choice, the letter is already given to you. But the keywords that goes with the letter are going to be, every time you see the word per, every, each, all those type of things usually comes in, and you're also gonna find it on the equation, on the question itself, okay? So per, every, each, okay? Those are essential words that you need to know. Whatever number comes before that or right after that keyword is usually gonna be the number that is gonna go with the variable. Now, on the equation, we're gonna have three different things. Number with a variable, a number by itself, a sign, and a total, okay? Now, we already covered the number with the variable. Now, the number by itself is usually going to be in the same side of the sign, of the inequality sign or the equal sign. Is going to be on the same side as the variable, but it's going to go by itself. You're either going to add or subtract a number. And you're going to find that, like, whenever you have like a fee, okay, or something that you pay only once, if you're talking about going to a fair, you're going to pay a ticket to the entrance, and then you're going to pay per game. See, the ticket is just going to be by itself. Now, if you go in a taxi, it's going to be the fare, okay? Like if you get a subscription to a membership of something, the initial fee is going to be the number by itself. And then you're going to come with the sign, either equal sign for an equation or inequality sign for an inequality, the greater than, less than, greater than or less than or equal, and then you're going to have the total. So with that little bit of a feedback, plus you can check the other videos right here. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do as much as we can in the remainder of the class. So number one, it says, you are planning to a skating party at a rink that charges a basic fee of $5. So remember, the fee is the number that's going to go by itself. And then it says $6.50 per person. There's the other keyword, per person. That's the number that is going to go with the variable for the clear parties. You don't want to spend more than $71, okay? That's the keyword for the inequality sign. Okay, we already said that this is gonna work with the variable, and if you look at the answer choices, everything has the $6.50 with the variable, so we're good there. Now, the only other thing, they also give you the solution for the variable. If you look at this is the solution for the variables right here, the 10. So the only thing that we need to find out is what sign are we using for no more than. That's the only thing. We need to find what sign we're going to be using. Now, if we're going to spend less than 71, we can already eliminate C and D because those are more than or equal to 71. Now, no more than 71. Can you spend the whole $71? Well, I guess as long as you don't go over the 71, you are fine. So basically, the sign that you're looking for is going to be less than or equal. In this case, it's going to be B. $6 per person, $6.50 per person, plus the $6 for the ticket or the fee is less than or equal to 71. That's all you gotta do. Read the equations and read the keywords on the word problem. Number 2, we have something similar. Again, look at the inequality sign, okay? So your middle school is having a carnival. The admission into the carnival is $8. So you gotta pay a ticket to get into the carnival, right? So that is right there, $8. So that's the fee. And each game is 50 cents, okay? Which of the following inequality represent the possible number of games, G, number of games, again, that's on the question and on the keyword right there. Number represents the number of games. Again, most likely on the question, you're gonna have the variable given in words. In this case, it says number of games, and over here it says each game. So they're related, each game, number of games, G. That can be played with $20. Again, just like on the previous one, we have the $20 bill, and that's all we can spend, okay? That's all we can spend. We can spend the whole 20 or less if you want to, okay? If you want to have some cash left over to spend it later on, you can do that too. So in this case, the keyword is going to be the fee, number that goes by itself. Number that goes by itself. So 8 has to go by itself. Well, if we look at this one, 8 is with the G right there and right there. So no, that's no bueno. Now, 50 cents. 50 cents each game. Both of these have that. And then the 8 is by itself on both of them. Good. So the only thing that we can look for is the keyword for the sign. Which one are we using? Are we using less than or equal to 20 or more than or equal to 20? Well, if we have $20, I cannot go over $20, so my answer has to be C. Any questions on that one? I didn't do any math. All I had to do was recognize those keywords. Number 3, Tyson and his friends go ice skating. They must pay, again, an initial fee, number that goes by itself. So something, they're going to add something plus 1830. Plus, and that's another keyword, plus 480 per hour. Per hour, that's a keyword that is going to go with the variable. So we have, let's put it on this color. So 480 per hour, okay? Or whatever letter, I guess they're using H. Write an equation for the cost, C. So we're looking for the cost, C, again, inequality. Equation. Tyson must pay after skating for 8 hours. Solve the equation and find the cost to go 4 hours. We're going to find how much you're going to spend for 4 hours, okay? So first off, let's look at the options. I know that the 480 has to go with the variable because it has per hour. So if I look at this one right here, my answer choice is A, 480. Yes, I need that. What about this one? 480 is not with the H by its, it has next to it, but it's adding H. So no, it has to be together, no spaces. C, I'm missing the H right here. They actually put it in with the fee. So no, you're only paying the fee one time. And the last one, we're dividing by H. So no, my only choice has to be A. Now, if I'm playing 4 hours, because you gotta solve it, however, they kind of already gave you the answers. You don't really need to solve it because you already disregarded everything else. As long as in this type of scenario, if you solve for everything, if you disregard everything, you don't even have to solve it. However, if you were to solve it, you're gonna put in the 4 hours right there. So 4.8 times 4 plus 1830 has to be 3750. And if you multiply 4.8 or $4.80 times 4 hours, you get $19.20 plus $18.30 for the fee. It is $37.50. So yes, in fact, the answer was A. We did not need to do this step right here, but I showed you that you can actually double check your answer. As long as you follow the keywords, you should be fine. All right, let me go ahead and put my mask on because there's a lot of people here now. Number 4. Which number line represents the solution for the inequality negative 7c minus 13 is greater than or equal to 8? Okay, so first of all, let's look at the inequality sign and recognize if there's something that we can go ahead and eliminate. Now, if you notice on the last step, before I do anything, on the last step I'm multiplying by a negative, and the opposite step will be to divide by a negative number. And just like we talked about before, when you multiply or divide by a negative number on an inequality, you have to flip the sign. So this sign is actually going to go like that. So the answer is actually going to go to the left. So you're going to have something like this with an arrow pointing to the left. Before doing anything, you can already eliminate 2 of those answers. Which ones? C and D. Now, to get the right answer, is it going to be positive 3 or negative 3? We will have to solve that. And you can do it 2 different ways. You can either solve for C, or you can substitute the negative 3 into C, or the positive 3 into C, and whatever gives you 8 is going to be the answer. For this one, it really doesn't matter. I will just go ahead and solve it. So, to solve it, we're first going to add 13 on both sides. That's the first step. That cancels out on the left. 8 plus 13 is going to be 21. You're going to bring this down, negative 7c. Now you're going to have to undo the multiplication by dividing by negative 7. What you do to one side, you do to the other one. This cancels out. So c is negative 3. So if you didn't know, if you solved it before eliminating C and D, you can already eliminate D and B because the 3 has to be negative. But remember, we have to flip the sign, so the answer has to be A, which matches the equation. Now, number 5, it says write an inequality that represents the graph below if the end point is moved 5 units to the left. Okay? So first of all, let's look at this. We have an open circle. That means that we are only going to use either greater than or less than. So look at the answer choices. If they, for instance, gave you something like this, you could have eliminated those 2. Okay? This case, no, everything is the same. Everything is greater than. So we can't go ahead and eliminate anything yet. So let's look at the answer choices. It says, make sure you read this thing before you actually select anything. Because if you don't read it and you just look at this, you're going to select, well, it's a 12. And you're going to select the answer choice 12. But in this case, it's not 12 because I'm not looking for 12. I have moved 5 units to the left. So what I actually have to do is move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my point. Which number is that? 7, which is B. Now, if you're not paying attention to anything, you look at number 5 and you select A, you're wrong. If you actually move to the right, you're going to end up at 17, which is not what you want because you're moving to the left. Right, left. Know your rights and left, guys. Number 6. Which of the following graphs describes the solution set of negative 4/5 x minus 13/5 is greater than or equal to negative 9? Now again, you might have some solutions with the open dot, and you can go ahead and eliminate those because the sign that we're using over here requires a closed dot. If the answer choices has an open circle, you can go ahead and eliminate that right away. Now in this case, it might look a little bit intimidating, but I'm going to show you something real quick that is going to help you to answer this question. Why do I say that it looks intimidating? Because of all the fractions right there. If everything was a fraction, it probably would have been easier to solve this. In this case, it's not. We actually have an integer and two fractions, a regular negative fraction and an improper fraction. Now, I do notice that both of this, well, first of all, let's look at the sign. It's pointing to the right. My last step will be to divide by a negative fraction. So that means that my sign will have to flip. My answer has to go to the left. So before doing anything, you can eliminate some answers. Look at everything that is going to the right and get rid of those, which is B and C, right? So now you're left with two choices, either positive 8 or negative 8. And at this point, you can do like the previous problem, substitute the 8 into the x, solve for it, and if the left gives you negative 9, then you're good. And in this case, I can kind of tell that the answer might actually end up being positive, but let's go ahead and solve for this. Now, yes, it's a fraction, so I'm going to show you a trick. I have the same denominator on both of them. Now, if the negative 9 on the right side was also a fraction, I can work with that. Let me show you what I can do. Now, how can I make negative 9 as a fraction? Anytime you have an integer or a whole number, all you gotta do is put a 1 under, right? Easy so far, right? Now, if I wanted to have the same denominator at the bottom, so this is the same thing as that, right? So if I wanted to have the same denominator on this, if I multiply this times 5, right? I multiply the top and the bottom, it's not going to change anything, right? So this will turn out to be negative 4/5 x minus, and bear with me, this is going to make a lot of sense in a little bit. Now negative 5 times 9 is negative 45, and the bottom is 5. Now, do we have the same denominator on everything? Do we have the same denominator on everything? This right here is the same thing as negative 9, right? Because 45 divided by 5 is just 9. Positive and negative gives you negative. So they're the same thing. Nothing has changed. Except now I have all fractions. Now, let's look at this. Now, this is when it comes, I'm talking too much. Yes, I know, but I'm trying to make a point and explain to you what's going to happen. We still don't like fractions, right? It's easier if I had just whole numbers or integers with no decimal, no fractions, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Because the denominator is all the same, and if you don't have the same denominator on all of them, you can find the least common denominator. We talked about that a long time ago, and this is probably something from 5th or 6th grade. So now, I know whenever I have a fraction, the bottom is dividing. So to undo the division, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to get rid of that denominator. Look how easy that is. I'm going to multiply the whole thing by that denominator. This will cancel all of that out. And you're going to left with negative 4x minus 13 greater than or equal to negative 45. Does that look a lot easier to solve than the other one? Than this right here? I think so. So let's go ahead and solve that. Plus 13, plus 13. That cancels out. Opposite sign, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So the answer is going to be negative. And this is going to be 2, 3, 32. Like that. And you're left with negative 4x on this side. The last step is to divide by negative 4. What you do to one side, you do to the other one. This cancels out. So x, what happened? 32 divided by 4, negative negative is positive. So the answer is going to be 8. Without even knowing that you had to flip the sign, yes, it was A. But remember, we divided by a negative. Therefore, my sign has to flip. So yes, it took a little long. So if skip from when I start talking about it until I fix this right here, and it actually goes really quick. But you will have to know that. If not, you're gonna have to deal with the fractions. Number 7, I'm gonna skip number 7 because the wording is not good. No, actually, wait. No, number 7 is fine. Number 7, I'm gonna skip number, I think it's 8 that I'm gonna skip. Number 7, which problem situations matches the equation below? And I have 15x equals to 120. So basically 15 times something equals 120. So the total is 120 for something. Let's look at this. Chan collected 120 foreign stamps last year. He gave 50% of them to his friends. Wait, stop. I don't have any percents right here at all. Just talking about percents, not talking about percent that goes away. That easy, right? If something doesn't add up, doesn't match up, get it out of the way. It's done. You're done with that one. B. CC exercised 120 minutes each day for 15 days last month. So 120 minutes each day for 15 days. So basically you're multiplying. Equals to x. Does that look like that at the top? It says right here 120 minutes per day for 15 days. So you're multiplying. That does not look like this right here. So it's not B. C. Demetria drove a total of 120 miles this week. So total. She drove 15 miles more this week than she drove last week. So last week was 120 minus 15. What is x? It doesn't even make sense, right? It doesn't even make sense, so it's not going to be C. Last one. Adam charges $15 per hour for 15x to repair lawnmowers. What is x, the number of hours Adam worked if he charged $120 per labor? So he worked 15 hours, he brought home $120. So that kind of makes sense, which is my answer. Any questions about that one? If you have a question about anything so far, leave it down in the comments below, and that way I can come back and answer you and help you out. Now, I'm going to skip number 8 because that one, the wording is not correct, although I think it's going to be B, but it's still not, it doesn't, no. Number 9, write a situation for the relationship below. So just like number 7, we're going to match that equation to the word problems, to the scenarios. Y equals 2x minus 5. So something times 2, and then you're going to take 5 away from that. Okay? To get a total. A. Philo earns $2 per hour, but then buys lunch for $5. How much money does he have left? Y is going to be, let Y, money left. So he makes $2 per hour and then buys lunch minus 5 equals to Y. So that seems like it might be my answer, but it's kind of weird. So let's keep on going. Let's see. Letter B. At the mall, Peña buys 2 CDs and spends $5 on lunch. How much money does he have left? Well, heck, I don't know. I don't even know how much money he had at the beginning, right? It doesn't give me anything. Y equals 2 CDs. I have no idea how much the CDs are. I guess 2x. And also, he spends $5. I don't know. That one doesn't make sense. C. Philo's allowance is twice Rachel's allowance, less than 5. Philo's allowance. What is Philo's allowance? So Y equals 2 times whatever Rachel's makes minus 5. So that one looks like it might be my answer. Let's look at D. Marcus works at the gym for half as many minutes. Half. You're dividing now. We're not dividing anywhere, so it must be C. Any questions so far? Leave it down in the comments. If you have a question, that way I can help you out. Number 10. We're gonna skip number 10 because it's gonna take us a lot of time, but 10 is basically the same as before. We are comparing that equation to the scenarios. You have a variable, you're gonna take away 9 from the variable and gonna divide it by 5 to give you a total of 12. Match it with that and get the answer. Now number 11, this is something that we don't see a lot. Maybe because I don't like modeling, I think it's unnecessary, but we still have to know how to do it because testing scenarios, whatever. So this is what I'm gonna go over a couple of this. So number 11, it says the rectangles represents x and the square represents a positive 1. So if you look at the equation, I have 2x, right? All these are plus 1, so this is plus 5 equals to 9, 11. So I have an equation that says 2x plus 5 equals 11. What makes x the value, the equation true? Basically, all you have to do is solve it. So every time I have a model, I just write it because I don't like modeling. I think you're 7th grader, you're 13, 14, 15 years old. You don't need this, okay? You don't need this. This is way too much. So let's go ahead and do this the real way. So let's just solve for x. First step, take away 5. What you do to one side, you do to the other one. And actually, I do this in a different way, but I'm showing you the longer way. That cancels out, so you're left with x equals to negative 4. Right? Wait, this is 11. So this is actually not 4, this is 6. Let's do this again. So 2x plus 5 equals 11. You're going to subtract 5 on both sides. So you have 2x equals to 6. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. So x equals to 3. Boom. That's it. That's it. That easy. You have another one. Similar but kind of different. Says the equation 5w plus 3 equals 4w plus 9 is modeled below. Okay? So we have a map. Which value of w makes this equation true? So what they want you to do is actually, you're gonna get rid of this 3 right there. So you get rid of this 3 right here. And then you're gonna get rid of this right here, 4. So you're gonna get rid of 4 of this right here. So you have 1w equals to 6. That's what it is, basically. I still don't like it, so I'm gonna show you how to solve these equations really quick. So what I want you to do every time you have two equations set equal to each other is combine the like terms. So move all the variables to one side and all the integers or whole numbers to the other side. So I have 5w plus 3 equals 4w plus 9. So this goes with this goes with that. So I'm going to put all my w's on the left because I like the variables on the left and all the integers on the right. So to do that, I'm going to get rid of this 4w. I'm going to get rid of whatever I do to one side, I do to the other one. Look, this is what I did right here. And then I'm going to subtract 3 right here. Subtract 3 right here. This is what I did right there. So that cancels out. This cancels out. You have 6 and you have w, which is 6. 1w equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the w is 6. Either way works. I like to do numbers instead of seeing models of equations. Okay, number 13. Leonard has T tickets, so he has some tickets. We don't know how many. For the rides at a county fair. He kept 9 tickets and gave an equal number of the remaining tickets to 6 of his friends. There were no tickets left over. Which equation can be used to find f the number of tickets the learner gave to each of his friends. Okay, variable. Each friend, how many friends? That right there. So you have 6x. But what did he do? He gave an equivalent amount. So he actually divided the tickets among 6 friends. He kept 9, right? No, he kept 9. So all the tickets plus the 9 that he kept is gonna give him the total. So which one looks like that? Which one looks like that? Why am I adding them? Because let's say he has 50 tickets, right? If you have the 50 tickets and you divide by 6 and then you subtract 9, you're taking tickets away from what the total is. You don't want that. So you gotta combine all the tickets to find out how many total tickets he has. So the answer has to be A. Next one, 14. Similar. In this case, we're gonna have to write the equation and solve for the equation. Ralph is an electrician. He charges an initial fee. Remember about fees? Every time you have a fee, it goes by itself. Every time you have a fee, it's gonna go by itself and he's gonna charge you. So you're gonna add $24 to the rate. Plus, keyword, literally means to add 33 per hour. So $33 per hour plus the 24 hours equals $189 that he took home. How long did he work? Right? We need to find H, how many hours he worked in order to get those hours. In order to get the $189. So, first step, subtract 24 on both sides. This is 5, this is 6, this is 165. That cancels out. And you're left with 33H. Bring it down. Next step, divide by 33. Divide by 33. So this is going to be a decimal. So 165 divided by $33 gives you 5. Actually, it's a whole number. So H equals 5 hours, which is C. Whenever you have one like this, you're going to have to write the equation. Remember, fees goes by themselves. If it's talking about money, most of the time it's going to be added. And then the keyword, the letter each, every, or per is going to go with the variable plus. You can connect that with the question. In this case, how long is talking about hours. So that's how you know. See if we can make another one. What is the correct method for solving the equation? So what do you do first in order to do this? X over 3 minus 6 equals to 9. What is the first step? First, you gotta add 6, right? That's the first thing you have to do. So let's look at this one. First, subtract 6. No, we're not subtracting. We have to do the opposite. B says add 6, maybe. This one says subtract 6. This one says add 6. Okay, let's look at the second step. What is the second step? We got rid of this, so we have x over 3 equals to 15. What is the next step? What is the 3 doing? What is this 3 doing? Now, what is it doing right now? Dividing. The opposite of divide is? Multiply. So next we multiply by 3. So let's look at this one. It says then divide both sides by, no, we're not dividing. Then multiply, so the answer has to be D. Okay? Once you find the first step, look at the answer choices. They said subtracting. We're not subtracting, we're adding because we're doing the opposite, right? So that way you can eliminate some of the answers. Number 16. Man, there's so many of them. Larry has $389. A DVD player costs $97 and he purchased movies at $11.55 each. What is the greatest number of movies that Larry can buy if he also buys the DVD player? Okay, again, we're gonna write the equation and solve for it, okay? However, we're gonna have to use common sense at the end, okay? Pay attention. We know how much he has, that's the total. Okay? He's gonna buy the DVD player. How many DVD players is he gonna buy? Do you need 3 DVD players? Do you need 5 DVD players? If you're only yourself, you live by yourself, you only need 1, right? So he's gonna spend this one time. And then with the leftover money, after he buys the DVD players, he's gonna buy some DVD movies, right? Blu-ray, whatever, okay? So the total, $389, plus it says each, right? $11.55 each per DVD. $11.55 per DVD plus the $97 is gonna have to be $389. First step, subtract 97. 389 minus 97 is gonna give you 292, and you're left with 11.55. Last step is to divide by 11.55 on both sides. When you divide that, you get 25.28. Now, can you buy 0.28 of a DVD? You're gonna buy 25 DVDs, and then the last one you're gonna break it into pieces and take that. Can they do that? Can they sell you a piece of a DVD? You either buy it or not buy it, right? So let's look at the answer. So basically, what's the maximum number of DVDs that he can buy? Can he buy 26? No. Can he buy 25? Yes. Can he buy less than that? Yes. Now pay attention. If the answer, we are not rounding, okay? We're not rounding in this type of scenarios. If the answer would have been 25.7, can that person buy 26 CDs? No, right? He'll need some more money, right? He doesn't have it. He can only buy how many? 25. So you gotta be paying attention. You're gonna have a lot of those questions, guys. A lot of use your common sense. You cannot buy a piece of something. You're gonna have to buy the whole thing or not buy it and have some coins left over, okay? In this case, he can buy maximum 25. But let's look at the answer. At most 26. Can he buy 26? No. He cannot buy more than 25. So it's not this one. Not that one. At most 25. They're gonna give him some change back, but he cannot afford another DVD. Right? Pay attention to those guys. You're not necessarily rounding. If the answer would have been something like that, we are not rounding, guys. You have to use your common sense. Okay? Next one. Which equation is true when the value of x is negative 12? So now they're giving you the answer to the variable, and you gotta, what I will do in this scenario, I will substitute this value in on the x, okay, and then go from there. So let's keep the fraction for a second. Let's look at letter C, just in case. So if I put in negative 12 right here, this will be 11 minus 24 negative equals 17, right? Negative and negative makes a positive, so that's gonna be what, 35? And 35 is not equal 17, so it's not gonna be C, right? Next one, 3 times minus 12, that's negative 36, right? Minus 19 is still gonna be a bigger, it's gonna be negative 55, which is not that. And then, so it's not gonna be that one. Now let's look at A. half of negative 12. How much is half of negative 12? Half of 12. How much is half of 12? 6. So it's going to be negative 6 plus 20. Opposite sign, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So 22 minus 6 is? 22 minus 6 is? 16. 16 is not equal to 20, so it has to be this one. Let's see. Half of 12, that's going to be negative and negative. It's going to make it positive, so this is going to be 6. 15 plus 6 is 21, which is my answer. The other ones, they're very similar to that. So let's see. 3n. So this one real quick. 18. 3n equals 73 minus 13 is going to be 60. And divide by 3. So n equals 20. Right there. Boom. That's how I do my equations. That's how I do my equations. I do it in my head. Next one. 19. So which number is solution for x? 7x equal minus 5. What? So this must be an equal sign right there. So I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. So this is going to make a negative 4. It doesn't make sense. I think this is a typo. This must be equal negative 5. Let's see that's work. So it's 7x plus 9 equals negative 5. So I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. So x, negative, negative, add them together. So this is 14 negative. So x equals to negative 2, which is going to be C. If there's any questions, please write them on the comment below. If you like this video, if you learned something today, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, link down in the description. That's it for this one, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.